Sucker for Love 2 just came out a couple days ago at the time of me writing this script. And after playing it, I genuinely believe Sucker for Love is the best visual novel series of all time. And I've played a lot of visual novels. I don't even think it's just recency bias. After thinking about the way it blends comedy, horror, and extremely interesting storytelling, I adore these games, and they gave me the best experience playing a visual novel I've ever had. There are currently 2 Sucker for Love games, First Date and Date to Die For. Both of these together create an amazing, horrifying, and hilarious experience. Let's touch on the first game. All the chapters are very different, with a different heroine or antagonist added in every chapter. So let's start at chapter 1. In this game, you play as a pretty boy host simply dubbed Darling, obsessed with the occult, specifically Eldritch gods. Even more specifically, dating these Eldritch gods. Darling himself is an airhead by nature, but has the funniest dialogue out of all the 3 chapters. It's super easy to find yourself liking him, or better yet, relating with him. His dialogue is just so human. On my playthrough, I ended up saying most of the things out loud before Darling said it in-game. He's a well-written protagonist that makes it easy for the player to either put themselves in his place or see yourself alongside him, and the love interest, Lynetta. To describe Lynetta to somebody who hasn't played Sucker for Love, well, personality-wise, she's like a yandere? She doesn't really joke. Most of the things she says are like 100% serious. She has times of being very menacing depending on your situation, from hiding other women from her to even looking at the breakup spell. But the chemistry between these 2 exaggerated personalities is the most perfect thing. They contrast each other in the best ways that make all their interactions either extremely relatable or downright hilarious. The gameplay consists of completing rituals for Lynetta, filling hearts for her to make progress to get that desired smooch. The horror in this comes from how gruesome the rituals can be, from carving a mouth into his hand to this. But body horror isn't the only thing in the revolver.
This shit better be worth it.
Other than that, this chapter focuses on comedy and the satisfying gameplay of successfully completing rituals. It's such an interesting concept for a visual novel that keeps you immersed and actually active in the game. Most visual novels suffer from not actually being video games, but the sprinkle of gameplay in here makes you feel like you're part of the story. It's great, I love it. There's actually 2 endings other than the bad ending and the worth it ending. One involves you sacrificing all of reality just to get that deserved smooch from her. And the other involves you actually breaking up with Lynetta, severing your connection with her, and saving reality. But now she's an inkling. Even still, you go for a smooch with her in a scene with genuinely funny visuals, and then she smacks you. The first chapter is a very solid introduction to the series, giving you good insight into what's actually going down with what humor and horror you're going to experience. It plays it pretty safe, but it's only the first chapter, so it fits pretty well. I'm going to be giving this chapter a 3.5 out of 5. It's extremely solid and had me hooked for the rest of the game, but yeah, this first chapter didn't really do anything amazing. It's great, but not outstanding. I mean, the whole thing is only 30 to 40 minutes. Which is not something I can say for chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a lot longer in all, mainly because the amount of options and endings is more than 2 times the amount of chapter 1. So remember that girl from the first chapter that you had to hide from Lynetta? I mentioned that, right? Turns out she's an Eldritch god too. Not only that, but she's Lynetta's sister? This chapter takes the mechanics of the first chapter and adds a new twist on it. You still have Lynetta's rituals, and her motivations haven't really changed, but you also have the options to change books and romance Esther. That new god I mentioned a couple seconds ago, I really should have specified what her name was. She doesn't have rituals. Esther has one big play. Most of the ritual casting is subbed out for saying the lines actively during the play, with death threatened if you mess up a line. Lucky for Darling, he's a professional actor. He played a tree once. Esther has a more cold, entitled rich girl personality and will often say mean things directly to Darling's face. If we're gonna continue using anime tropes for personalities, I'd more compare Esther to a tsundere. Even with her more cold personality, Darling is often able to crack it. But still, with that, she's not my favorite character, and it's very easy to just straight up hate. You have many options in this chapter. You could romance Esther and ignore Lynetta, you could romance Lynetta and ignore Esther, or you could 2-time. But doing certain spells on one book after doing one on the other can lead to big consequences. Like getting your face ripped off. Doesn't everyone love that? The descriptions of these scenes are anything but vague. The writing is so immersive, and these scenes can make you feel physically uncomfortable. Extremely well written. The gameplay of having to switch books to attend to each girl is cool in concept. It adds more replayability and gives the player more freedom in what they want to do, but I think it sacrifices strengths from the Ruth in all, depending on what you choose. Esther's path is dope. More interesting ideas and interactions, but I feel like they could have did more when it comes to Lynetta and Darling. Their interactions follow the same beats as chapter 1, just with her having more affection for him. I ended up wanting more from them, ritual-wise and gameplay-wise. Lynetta drawing in the book to get him to hug her after she noticed he's been pushing himself is pretty wholesome though. Also, these endings are really nice. I'll talk about the best ones real quick. If you 3-hearted with Esther, she tries to induct you into her cult, attempting to brainwash you to be in her horde of zombies. but it doesn't work because you are already obsessed with her. The interaction of them going back and forth about marriage has me dying. And if you 3-heart it with Lynetta, she stops right before you complete the final ritual, then asks you not to complete it. She tries to convince you that you should let her stay asleep, keeping the reality there so you can stay together. But you refuse because like, everything's gone to shit already. You might as well rip the band-aid off. So when she wakes up from her dream, she puts a note to remind herself to dream of you again. Oh yeah, in this game, realities are just the dreams of eldritch gods, so when they wake up, the realities are destroyed. Man, I should really mention these things earlier. There's alternate versions when you each have a broken heart, one where Esther succeeds and you turn into a mindless zombie, and one where Lynetta breaks up with you before the final ritual and kills you as mercy because, reality is still kind of crumbling. The funniest ending, in my opinion, is the one where you get 3 broken hearts with Esther, and so after everything, she denies you of the 3 kisses she promised. So you slam her planet into the earth. I think in all, Chapter 3 was very cool, but definitely could have been stronger. By this point, I'm loving the concept and I'm feeling the potential of what this game can be. The comedy is great, the art is great, the writing is great. I'm just feeling that this could be something more. A solid 3.9 out of 5. It has its flaws, but its pros are damn good. I don't really like Chapter 3. It feels like they wanted to ditch the comedy and romance and focus on the horror part of this game, but I don't really like how it's executed here. Instead of having a new god to romance, this one wants you dead. Her name is... I don't know how to pronounce this. Catwoman from DC Comics. She's the aunt of Esther and Lynetta and believes that humans have no place talking to eldritch gods. Cool concept. What I don't like is the gameplay of this chapter. It's a survival game where you have to survive waves of threats with the whole book of what they are and how to deal with them. Technically, this is shorter than both the other chapters, but even still, it goes on for too long. It goes from slightly startling to tedious very soon. When I saw a 3rd chapter, I really wanted more of Lynetta and maybe even Esther, but they're nowhere to be found in this chapter at all. They're simply mentioned by Catwoman and Darling. After a couple waves of this, there's dialogue between them, albeit funny dialogue, and then it's the ending. Well, aside from when you banish Moo. Oh, Moo is the creator of the books. I don't know why I keep holding this information, but if you don't rebel and banish her, she keeps you in this reality and gives you a kiss anyway. So when? Anyway, this is definitely the weakest out of the 3. It seems like the dev wanted to make a horror game, but they were limited with the style of First Date, got a little bit too ambitious, and bit off more than they could chew. I think it's a 2 out of 5. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but the ending is mostly satisfying. 2 years later, Sucker for Love Date to Die For comes out. I was extremely excited to see what would happen with this game. And I was very right to be excited. This game is amazing. The chapters in Date to Die For roll perfectly off each other and follow similar beats without it getting stale. The environment, the characters, the dialogue, everything had a massive improvement. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me break everything down. By the way, 90% of this footage is me and my friend Sage and VC playing all the game in one sitting. I enjoyed it that much. The pro tag for Date to Die For isn't Darling this time. It's a girl named Stardust that is looking for her missing parents. At first, when I found out about it not being Darling, I was a bit disappointed. At the time, he was the best part of the whole series. I wasn't really ready for a new pro tag, but we balled, so I was fine. So we learn about the whole city of Sacramento. People have been going missing in this town crazy, and the foliage has been growing at an unnatural amount. It's a slow start that focuses on world building and immersion. This opening scene establishes the Sacramento stare too, a feature that most of the residents has that makes their eyes appear purple and glowing. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. Hopefully we never see anyone that has that. I don't know anyone named Buck. You break into a mad dash and reach this house, the place where the actual gameplay takes place. Now, this has turned into a full 360 point-and-click horror game. Feeling around the house for the first time was so crazy to me. Here, it was clear to me that this was way more ambitious than the first game, and already way creepier. The room in First Date was all pink and bright, nothing to create a scary mood. The house in Date to Die For is creepy as f***. It's in tatters, man. This is supposed to be your childhood home, but it's obvious somebody else has been here. Bodies and blood cover the floors and walls. It's unsettling. You creep your way upstairs and, determined to stop this madness, summon the All-Mother, Roxanne. And even though, yes, technically she is the cause of all this, it's not actively her fault. Her cultists have been abusing her dark woods and broke her hearts to make the woods bloodthirsty. In reality, she's actually mad chill, so you two decide to team up to help save the world. Roxanne is still pretty confused on why you're not lost in lust, though. The woods are supposed to amplify it. Well, the reason is really easy to explain, actually. She's asexual. This is a really jarring switch from the first game because Darling was an absolute horn dog. The whole reason for the first game happening is because he's sexually attracted to eldritch gods. Having the main character of the next game have no sexual desire sounds like it wouldn't work, right? You'd be correct normally, but no, not here at all. Roxanne and Stardust create such a great dynamic here because Roxanne is the goddess of lust. You put the goddess of lust and an asexual person together, you're going to get some damn good interaction. Just saying this now, the scenes through the chapters of Roxanne trying to hit on Stardust for her not understanding any of it or just avoiding it is the funniest thing. I've went over how good the dialogue in this series is, so you know it's all executed super well. And the spray bottle isn't just a feature to skip dialogue. It's completely in character and adds that extra level of immersion to the game. So after a little ritual-made dinner, and the heart-shattering confirmation that Stardust's parents are 1,000,000% dead, this game really starts when a noise is heard downstairs. We went downstairs and we found what should have been the first real jump scare of the game, but... So when looking in the settings, I saw an option that would warn you before a jump scare happens. And the temptation to find out what it looked like overpowered me, so this is what happened. Oh!
Lock in!
Telling you now, I forgot to turn this off for the whole playthrough, and it made for a lot of funny moments, so it's not all bad. After bonking her on the head, you bring her back to your room, tie her up so she can't escape, and heal her. A real good way to show Stardust's personality. She's a genuinely good person. Even if someone attacks her directly with intentions to kill, she wants to make sure they're okay. We learn her name is Nanny. Not only that, but she's the same girl from the beginning of the game. So she wasn't a throwaway character. Then we learn about Buck, a follower of Roxanne that was cursed with immortality because he stole a kiss from her. Ever since then, he's devoted himself and the rest of the cult, named the Thousand, to torturing Roxanne and feeding the woods. Something the first game didn't have was a main antagonist. Well, I guess you can count Catwoman, but she appears and is defeated in the same chapter. The main villain is mentioned and set up as a threat in the very first act. Well, it's a good thing he's not here right now.
Buck is already here.
Bucky and the rest of the cultists stand right outside your door. After confirming Nanny is okay, he offers us a deal. Let them in, we take the book to Roxanne, just leave Nanny unharmed. Then, he gives you 20 seconds to make your choice. This is obviously a bluff, right? So of course, I did the obvious thing and didn't open the... Come on in. See, I told you it would be funny. What you're supposed to do is nothing. They wouldn't shoot through the wall and kill Nanny, would they? Did he kill her? Oh yeah, she's finished. I have got to stop speaking. When I first saw the heal spell in the book, I noticed immediately that there was a version where you could heal someone else. My mind went rushing to, I'm gonna have to heal somebody, aren't I? And as soon as she got shot, I was rushing to heal her.
No.
No.
I said it wrong, my
Do
bad.
I have to give you the mask?
Ashwagandha. Wrong symbol.
I can res you. I can res you.
Ashwagandha weed. Ashwagandha weed.
Yeah! After you heal Nanny, she no longer has the Sacramento stare. While getting shot and hearing Buck saying stop because he'll hit the book and not being worried about her, she loses all desire for Buck and thus loses the mind control. Turns out Nanny was just a girl that had feelings for Buck and was coerced into joining the Thousand. Well, it's good to have somebody else to help you fight this cult, right? She says thank you and leaves. All right, just goodbye and be safe. The rest of the chapter is going through the rituals without dying. You actively have to avoid the Thousand in the house while traveling, and if you don't, remember how in chapter 3 I said something along the lines of, I know this game wants to be more, but in the state that it is, it's too ambitious for its own good? If I didn't say that before, I'm saying it now. I feel like this game is exactly what they wanted it to be. They absolutely achieved that horror feeling with Date to Die For in a way that it's genuinely scary. I was actually impressed with how scared I was getting, especially in the Firstborn's part. So look, what do you do where you need a blood sacrifice, but the character you play as doesn't want to kill anybody? Summon the Firstborn! Remember the baby scene from Resident Evil? Yeah.
Survive.
Run, bro. Run! Get
can't move.
Out of the room! Ooh.
You guys may be saying, you guys are just wussies. There's absolutely no way someone could be scared of...
Oh my gosh, that scared the crap out of me, bro. That scared me so bad I couldn't even close the door in time. Oh gosh, it made me let go of my mouth.
Yeah, it's super easy to forget, but this is a horror game. First Date is a visual novel with horror elements. Date to Die For is a horror game that doubles as a visual novel rom-com, and it's amazing. After completing everything, you get ready to do the uprooting ritual, but you start to hear sounds from outside. Someone is approaching, and you don't know who. You ready your base, stand near the door, and...
Kill!
Hey. Ow!
I fucking knew it.
My heart was beating out of my chest after the Firstborn part. You can't do this to me. She came back to help and gave you the essentials for the uprooting ritual. This is a very cool moment between these three. Nanny genuinely feels bad for your position, and it really humanizes her. It's amazing. She even agrees to make sure the book burns when you do the uprooting. Oh, I didn't mention that the uprooting burns down the whole forest. And most of the world. Anyway, you do the uprooting, fool some cultists to escape, and take one last look at your house. Wow. Is that a burning person walking out the house? Chapter 2 starts like the first. To my confusion, instead of parents, Stardust is looking for their 9 siblings, which no, is not an exaggerated detail to stress the difference of realities. She normally has 9 siblings. Her parents have no idea what a condom is. Stardust's memories appear gone until boom, the library gives them the book and everything comes back to them. Also, this is Moo, the creator of the books mentioned in the first game. Remember that? Moo? Mentioned in the first game? This is definitely what she looks like. There's no bait and switches here. Nuh-uh, nuh-uh. Anyways, you eventually make it to the house again, and then you go inside. Oh.
That's her! That's the girl fuckboy that's about!
No! They knew you were coming. Yay, yippee, hooray. This is Billy. She's like the Roman Reigns of the group. She ends up saying you're too weak for her and commands the rest of the 1,000 to kill you. But all of a sudden, they're way too pussy to do it. Probably because Buck told them you killed them in the other reality? For some reason? So now they're all scared of you and you bluff your way out of them doing anything, but that just makes Billy more interested in fighting you. Also, for some reason your arm broke, and because Billy is like Vegeta or more like Wamuu from JoJo, she breaks her own f***ing arm to make it even. What the hell? That's so raw. That's not fair. You can't be this cool. Billy will just chill there, waiting for you to start the rituals upstairs. This is the main antagonist of the chapter, and she's just standing there. How can you be this cool? After that, you make your way upstairs to find a cat. A cat without a face. Cat. Oh no, wait, no!
Never seen a Russian blue before.
Oh shit. Oh shit! Catwoman is back, but this time she's not directly doing anything. She's just giving you a death tally to try and discourage you from helping Roxanne. She keeps her motive from chapter 3. You can spray her though. After that, you summon Roxanne, and she actually missed you a lot. She's more warm with her expressions and stuff now. It feels like actual progression. Wait, this is progression! It's a dating sim! So then you do the rituals and find out the hearts at the top right of the screen are the hearts of the woods. One is red and the rest is purple. I didn't even see the other 2 until the spell had me look for it.
Oh yeah, there's 3. Oh!
Trying to navigate the house while hearing Billy's bat swinging and hitting stuff ended up making me super nervous. The switch from rom-com to horror is just so smooth. It should be super jarring, but it isn't for some reason. It's just executed really well. I gotta mention this now, but my main worry about this protagonist is that she'd be too cute to do any of the body horror stuff that First Date had. And in the end, I was right. They tried to do a scene like when Darling made himself look more like Lynetta, but in reality, he looked more like this. Ugh. With Stardust, but it just ended up looking adorable. Even when it cut to reality, it wasn't that bad. They really sacrificed the body horror for a better looking protagonist, but I don't really mind it because of the new type of horror they introduced. The extreme body horror wouldn't really fit in this game compared to First Date, so I'm glad they left it there. Also, there's a spell you do downstairs near the TV for some reason, and when you go back upstairs,
Suddenly, a floral-like scent washes over me.
God, I got you covered.
This is a real low point.
This game is hilarious, by the way. So eventually I said we ball and did the uproot. Roxanne tried to stop me at the last second, but we ended up doing it anyway. We promised to end this thing, you know? I get all the way to the door and Billy gets me. Oh, I'm finished.
You're finished.
That's what I said. She takes the book from Stardust's hand, but she tears the seed ritual from the page. Billy ends up leaving without the page, and I think I get the true ending. I did not get the true ending. Instead, I got it by trying to get a bad ending. When I reloaded my safe, it said I died like 40 or more times. I clicked on the text and it said I should just wait here. So I waited here. Then Billy came over, and before anything, Stardust must have a plus 1,000 charisma factor, because while she was making sense, this shouldn't have worked. She manages to convince Billy that she is stronger than Buck because she keeps coming back from her deaths with no injuries, and Billy only listens to people stronger than her. Billy believes Buck is stronger than her because he's immortal, so by proxy, you're stronger than her. She asks you to spare her life and is now helping you. Also, she doesn't have the sacramental stare. Why did she join the cult? I actually don't remember, so I'm gonna just say she wanted to. You do the uprooting ritual, and then
I saw a pond on the foot.
it's Buck. Where did she get shot from? How does he know this is happening? How is his aim so good with a shotgun, not in point-blank range? This is a visual novel about dating eldritch gods. We can let things slide. The last section is cool as hell, dude. You get to the door, and Buck shoots you. You're at point-blank range, and right before he shoots you,
Oh! Billy Clutch! Billy Clutch!
then Billy tells you how to survive the fire, and you get one last glimpse of Buck before the chapter ends.
That was the coolest fucking ending. That was the coolest shit.
Chapter 3 and 4, or chapter 999 and 1000, are both pretty short and roll right into each other. So I'm just gonna cover them both. But why chapter 999? I hear some people asking. I'm not giving you the answer yet. Lock in. Chapter 999 starts at the library. Spoiler alert, every chapter starts like this, but you don't immediately see the book. You bump into someone while walking through Missing Person Lane. He looks like the brand new character from the new Persona 6 video game that'll be announced next year. I'm a psychic, trust me. And his name is Captain Kidd. Like, come on here. During the conversation, he starts acting a little weird, asking you to show him where you live, which, for people who are a bit airheaded, is a bright red flag. It should be pretty obvious what's gonna happen next. People in Missing Persons Lane acting a little strange. This shouldn't be a, oh no, reveal, but I'm a little dumb.
You're the one Buck wants.
Everyone. It's everyone. So what, he's one of the 1000. Obviously. He sicks his fangirls on you by telling them he's in love with you and will never love anyone else while you're still alive. Ooh, okay, all right, that's clever. You run away, get into the house, and then you see the book. The first thing on Stardust's mind isn't, oh damn, it's happening again. Or, no, I have to live this nightmare once more. Instead it's, I get to see Roxanne again. Score! You travel through the house and wow, these are a lot of rot blooms. You did a ritual in chapter 1 where you ate a bunch of stuff, including raw meat. Ew. And now whenever you die, one of these flowers pop up. But now they're flooding the house in almost every room. I don't know about you, but I didn't die this much. And when you get to Roxanne, she says that the only 2 members of the 1000 left are Kidd and Buck. But that can't be. This is only chapter 3.
That's what all the other stories are, because at first you did whatever her name is, and then it was Billy. And so you just went through all of the members and used all of them to where they all got removed from the 1000.
That's why it's chapter 999. Yeah, what he says. Stardust is such a trooper. She kept going on no matter what. All because she's such a good person. No, it's because she's in love with Roxanne. Also, your door is gone, music is blasting so it's hard to hear people in your house, and those people are just innocents that Captain Kidd brainwashed. Oh boy, this is crazy cool. As soon as you get the radar ability, this chapter becomes so tactical and fun. While, yes, the enemies are the most aggressive so far, they balance it with not only the radar, but the way you can find keepsakes to snap them out of their brainwashed state and remove them as a threat completely. That is completely necessary because there's one that just stalks you.
Yeah, I can still hear her breathing, so she's still right on top of you.
The rituals this time are super short, and it doesn't take long to get to the uprooting. But once you get there, Kidd tells all the innocent people that he hates people that run from burning buildings, putting Stardust in a really bad position. Because as displayed earlier, she's asexual. What? No, she's a good person. Who's editing this? You are. Oh yeah. The true ending is very obvious here. It's saving all the people, then doing the uprooting. Which I messed up the first time. But afterwards, I did it right. Most of the items make sense. A picture of this lady's husband, someone's mom telling them to come home. The 2 of them have funny moments in the dialogue. An artist hearing her music and remembering this is what she does.
That's me. That's my song. That's me.
And you remembering this dude's birthday.
It's my birthday. Someone remembered my birthday.
The way he says it is so hilarious to me. Then there's this girl who was a part of an idol group on TV, and you give her the head of the other idol, and it talks back? Well, at least they can still harmonize. After you do the uprooting ritual, you go to the front door and Kidd is in shambles. He loses his desire because he sees all his fans leave without even looking back at him. I mean, you brainwashed them. He says he didn't know he brainwashed them, but like, nah, you knew that shit. At the end, Kidd leaves the 1000, you leave the house, and oh god, it's Buck. Boom, back to the library. The book is right on your lap this time. And then, no, not really. She was just hanging this out to dry. This is Moo. For real Moo. The librarian from before was just a puppet so she could hide her true appearance. This whole interaction between her and Stardust is amazing, but I'm just gonna sum it all up. Moo is here because she loves smut, reading and writing it. She made the books that allow for human and eldritch gods to have a connection. The first human that was selected for Roxanne was Buck. And the way Moo describes him really reminds me of Darling from First Date. So Buck is just Darling but evil. Okay, cool. Buck and Roxanne weren't super compatible or anything, but they were happy. And then Buck stole a kiss, somehow managing to accidentally do the kiss of immortality ritual. Also, Roxanne is in love with Stardust. Also, Stardust is in love with Roxanne. So Moo gives Stardust the kiss of immortality ritual because she loves their relationship so much. And then Stardust gets an idea to do the kiss of immortality ritual. You get to the house again, summon Roxanne, and wow, something stinks. Oh god. The gameplay of this chapter is very similar to chapter 3 of First Date, but this time it's a 7-minute timer, and it's really simple. Honestly, it's more anxiety inducing this time. I think it's executed a lot better here too. 30 minutes of this just doesn't make sense, and I think the devs noticed that. Having a visual timer adds so much more suspense, and the fully roamable house just makes everything work so much better. Also, it might be scripted. At the end, I was waiting out the firstborns. Oh yeah, they're back. And then Roxanne screams from upstairs. I rushed upstairs to find Big Plant, to find Buck, just kind of standing there. He explains his plan. In short, it's to awaken the eternal sleeper and cause the end of everything, which, yeah, if I was tired of being immortal, I'd do the same thing. But thankfully, Catwoman comes in just in time to stop him by pulling him into her dream. That makes no sense. And Stardust agrees because she thinks about it and does this. And finally, after 4 chapters, you get that damn smooch. Side note, I love that it takes 4 chapters to get to this. It allows for a build-up and for the player to get to the point where they anticipate it. With First Date, it happens in every chapter. Technically, even chapter 3 if you banish Moon. Allowing for Stardust and Roxanne's relationship to build makes it so you can get invested in it. Another great change that makes the overall experience better. After 2 smooches, Roxanne wakes up to talk about her dream and her experience with loves to Lynetta and Esther, but they're both so young now. This game is a prequel? Wait. So why did Moo give the book to Darling at all? She described Buck in the same way as Darling. Is she stupid? There's a really good scene with Buck and Stardust talking. It really displays the difference between both of their mindsets. Also, Buck was too angry and rageful to explore the infinite cosmos, so Stardust takes him there in a wonderful credit sequence. Eventually, Buck stops her. Another dream starts and he decides to stay here. He's more happy here than chasing revenge. In the new dream, the house is all nice and the objective says to meet Roxanne outside. Also, Nanny, Billy, and Kid are all alive, so that's cool. You make it outside. Your parents, your siblings, and everyone is waiting for you. You get this last visual. This is the true ending. Now, skip to this time if you want to stay ignorant because I'm about to crush everything. This is the true ending, but it's not the truth ending. Before you leave to go outside, you'll hear a ringing. I thought it was just the door closing or something, but if you continue to go through the house, it'll get louder and louder. The objective will start to change, telling you to turn around and calling you replaceable. Eventually, you make it all the way down into the basement, and there sits the cat and the hearts of the wood. You can get rid of the Black Woods right here, completely removing Roxanne from the world, or go back and live in Roxanne's dream. She even left everything you need to complete the uprooting right there. If you choose to do it, then you find out that not only Sacramento is covered in the Black Woods, but the whole of Earth is, as you burn it down and kill everybody. But that says truth ending, not true ending, so we're not even gonna think about that one anymore. And for the people who skipped that part, welcome back. I'm gonna say this now, this game is a 5 out of 5. I love everything about this, and I feel like even me talking about it isn't doing it justice. It pulls on the emotional heartstrings, scares the life out of you, and can make you laugh all in the same chapter. It's such a massive improvement from First Date, and I simply can't wait for the next Sucker for Love game. Actually, at this point, I play anything this dev makes. They're simply amazing. If you like this video, consider subscribing and dropping a like. I spent a lot of time on this video, and I know it won't do the best, but I simply love talking about this game. No gimmick outro this time, just buy Sucker for Love, Date to Die For. Hit the outro.
Are you from here or what?
I'd fold.